Lesson 33, A Day to Remember. Have you ever experienced a day when everything seems to go wrong? 大家有没有过这样的经历？这一天里头，事事都不顺心。We'll listen to this text, which is about such a day. Now listen to the text and answer this question. What accident began the series of traffic accidents? 这一连串的交通事故是怎么样开始的？
We have all experienced days when everything goes wrong. A day may begin well enough, but suddenly everything seems to get out of control. What invariably happens is that a great number of things choose to go wrong at precisely the same moment. It is as if a single unimportant event set up a chain of reactions. Let us suppose that you are preparing a meal and keeping an eye on the baby at the same time. The telephone rings, and this marks the prelude to an unforeseen series of catastrophes. While you're on the phone, the baby pulls the tablecloth off the table, smashing half your best crockery and cutting himself in the process. You hang up hurriedly and attend to baby, crockery, etc. Meanwhile, the meal gets burnt. As if this were not enough to reduce you to tears, your husband arrives unexpectedly, bringing 3 guests to dinner. Things can go wrong on a big scale, as a number of people recently discovered in Parramatta, a suburb of Sydney. During the rush hour one evening, 2 cars collided and both drivers began to argue. The woman immediately behind the 2 cars happened to be a learner. She suddenly got into a panic and stopped her car. This made the driver following her brake hard. His wife was sitting beside him holding a large cake. As she was thrown forward, the cake went right through the windscreen and landed on the road. Seeing a cake flying through the air, a lorry driver who was drawing up alongside the car pulled up all of a sudden. The lorry was loaded with empty beer bottles, and hundreds of them slid off the back of the vehicle and onto the road. This led to yet another angry argument. Meanwhile, the traffic piled up behind. It took the police nearly an hour to get the traffic on the move again. In the meantime, the lorry driver had to sweep up hundreds of broken bottles. Only 2 stray dogs benefited from all this confusion, for they greedily devoured what was left of the cake. It was just one of those days.
Have you answered the question? What accident began this series of traffic accidents? Right. 2 cars collided, and then the drivers began to argue. The text begins by telling us that sometimes everything seems to go wrong. And then we are given a scenario to illustrate how bad a day can be. 那么注意，第一段讲的这个情景呢，它是假设的。Then the second paragraph starts with, things can go wrong on a big scale. So it's a transition from the imaginary scene to the real incident. 这样呢，就从这个虚构的情景过渡到了真实的事件。There was indeed a chain of coincidences which make things a terrible mess. When the text ends, it says, it was just one of those days. It was one of those days. 这是一个口语化的说法，意思就是 It was just one day when everything seems to go wrong. 这就是那么事事不顺心的一天。Okay, now let's look at the language points in the text. A day may begin well enough, but suddenly everything seems to get out of control. Get out of control, 失去控制。如果用介词词组来表达，就是 be beyond somebody's control. 在控制之中就是 be under control. Look at two examples. I'm afraid it is beyond my control. 恐怕这件事情我控制不了。Don't worry, everything is under control. 所有的事情呢都在控制之中。要表达对事物的控制，可以说 have control of or over something, or be in control of something. 也可以使用动词表达，就是 take control of. 那么失去控制就是 lose control of. A great number of things choose to go wrong. Choose to, 我们在前面几课学过它的用法。It means decide to do something deliberately. He has deliberately chosen to lead the life he leads. 那么这里用来说事情 choose to go wrong 是一种拟人化的说法，好像事情成心捣乱一样。I'll give you one more example. He chose to stay away from the party his wife held for him. 他故意没有参加他妻子为他举办的晚会。It is as if a single unimportant event set up a chain of reactions. Set up means make a process start happening. 使呢一连串的事件发生。But set up can also mean something else. 我们来看看在不同的上下文中 set up 的意思。The committee was set up last year. Set up here means establish. 这个委员会呢是去年成立的。Does anyone know how to set up this machine? Set up 在这句话中呢就跟课文中的意思一样，意思是 Does anyone know how to make this machine start? 有没有人知道怎么样使这个机器启动？In some people, this drug sets up a reaction. 在有些人中呢，这个药品会引起反应。Here, set up also means to make a reaction happen. A chain of reactions. A chain of means a series of. 一系列的，一连串的。那么课文后边又出现了 a series of 这个词组。The telephone rings, and this marks the prelude to an unforeseen series of catastrophes. 课文后边呢出现了 a series of 的用法。The telephone rings, and this marks the prelude to an unforeseen series of catastrophes. 这里的 a series of 当然也可以用 a chain of catastrophes 来替换。课文中使用的是 a chain of reactions, 一连串的反应。那么连锁反应呢，在英文中的表达就是 a chain reaction. Let us suppose that you are preparing a meal and keeping an eye on the baby. Let us suppose that means imagine if you are preparing a meal and keeping an eye on the baby, what would happen? I'll give you one more example. Let's suppose, or suppose that you lost your job tomorrow. What would you do? 意思就是想象一下，如果你明天就失业了 What would you do? Keep an eye on the baby means look after the baby. 它比 look after 要更不正式一些。Look at one more example. Can you keep an eye on my luggage for a minute, please? 你能不能帮我看一会儿行李？ This marks the prelude to an unforeseen series of catastrophes. Prelude, 它如果是对音乐或者戏剧而言呢，意思就是序曲或者序幕。Here it's used figuratively. 这里呢是引申义，是指的事件的序幕。 I'll give you one more example. The recent changes were regarded as a prelude to a reform. 最近的这些变化呢，被视为是改革的一个序幕。A series of catastrophes. Catastrophe 灾难 ，disaster 是它的同义词。Look at this example. If war broke out, it would be a catastrophe for the whole world. 如果战争爆发，将对全世界都是一个灾难。You hurry up hurriedly and attend to baby, crockery, etc. Attend to means care for or deal with. Look at this example. He is attending to the customers now. 他现在呢，正在接待顾客。Meanwhile, the meal gets burnt. Burnt 在这里是烧糊了的意思。我们知道 burnt 是 burn 的过去分词。那么 burn 它的过去式、过去分词既可以是 burnt， 也可以是 burned。burnt 尤其是被英国人使用 ，burned 尤其被美国人使用。但是要表示烧糊了的意思，只能使用 burnt 这个过去分词形式。As if this were not enough to reduce you to tears. Reduce you to tears means as if this were not enough to make you cry. Reduce somebody to 意思是使人陷入一个不快的状态。我们来看几个例子，看 reduce to 经常与哪些词搭配。His question reduced me to silence. 他的问题使我陷入了沉默。She was reduced to begging eventually. 她最终不得不乞讨。The city was reduced to ruins. 这个城市沦为废墟。So tears, silence, begging, ruins, they're all unpleasant situations or less active states. Things can go wrong on a big scale, 大规模的。We can also say on a large scale or on a small scale. Two cars collided. Collide 相撞，它的同义词有 bump or clash， 但是 collide 尤其指的是迎面相撞 directly running against. The woman immediately behind the two cars. 这个紧跟在两辆车后边的女人 immediately 是用来强调的。I'll give you more examples. He lived in an apartment immediately above mine. 他住的那家公寓呢，就在我家楼上。The farmers were the immediately affected by the new policy. 农民是受到这个新政策最直接影响的人群。She suddenly got into a panic. Get into 这个词组经常用来表达陷入一个不快的情形。课文中呢用的是 get into a panic， 它还经常跟这些宾语 get into trouble 惹麻烦 get into difficulties or get into a mess. Panic means fear and agitation, usually groundless. Panic 是指恐惧或者恐慌，尤其是指没有什么根据的恐慌。Look at this example. She got into a real panic that she would forget her lines on stage. 她一想到她可能上台之后忘了台词儿，就觉得非常的恐慌。所以呢，这句中的 she would forget her lines on stage， 还有课文中描述的这个情景，这种恐慌都是没有根据的，没有缘由的。As she was thrown forward. Be thrown forward means be pushed forward violently. Be thrown forward means be pushed violently forward. 它猛地向前一冲。Throw 这个动词呢，用来表示强烈的一个动作。For example, he threw the door open. 他猛地把门摔开。The cake went right through the windscreen. Right through 这里 right 是用来表示强调的，意思是 the cake went directly through the windscreen. I'll give you one more example. Take the next turn, you'll find it right in front of you. 下边一个路口转弯，你会发现它就在你面前 exactly in front of you. It landed on the road. Land 我们在前边的课文中学习过，是降落的意思。When he landed near Dover. 那么这里呢，就是落下来的意思。Give you one more example. Raindrops were landing on my head. 雨点呢，落在我头上。Seeing a cake flying through the air. Fly through the air. Fly 呢，这个动词是为了生动的描述。Through the air means the space above or around, 在空中。Look at more examples. The cat fell 10 stories through the air without hurting itself. 猫从10层楼上落下来，没有摔伤自己。Throw your gun down and put your hands in the air. 放下武器，举起手来。This led to yet another angry argument. Yet means still another angry argument. 这里呢 yet 也是用来强调的。Look at more examples. Having already owned 20 pairs of shoes, she bought yet another pair today. 她已经有了20双鞋了，今天呢又买了一双。Sorry to disturb you yet again. 对不起，再次打扰你了。He made a yet worse mistake. 他犯了一个更严重的错误。所以 yet 在表示强调的时候，经常跟 another 又一个 again 又一次或者比较级一起连用。The traffic piled up behind. Pile up means accumulate, 堆积、积累。这里的意思就是后边排的车越来越多。Pile up 既可以用来形容实物 ，for example, snow was piling up overnight. 一夜之间呢，雪越积越多。也可以用来形容抽象的东西。His debts are piling up. 他的债务越积越多。Only 2 stray dogs benefited from all this confusion. Stray means lost, not in their original place. 意思就是野狗。Look at this example. His drawer is full of stray socks. 说袜子不在原处，其实就是单只的袜子。They greedily devoured what was left of the cake. Devour, 吞咽。But we can also use the verb figuratively. 我们也可以使用它的引申义，就是如饥似渴地做什么事情。For example, he was a very keen reader. He would devour one book after another. It means he would eagerly read one book after another. 这篇课文呢，因为讲述的是有很多巧合事件会引起一个重大的事故。So there are a lot of adverbs used to describe the worsening process, to emphasize the coincidences. 我们来看看课文是怎么样使用副词来强调这些巧合的。A great number of things choose to go wrong at precisely the same moment. 就在同一个时刻一起出错。那么 precisely 是用来强调时间的。The woman immediately behind the 2 cars happened to be a learner. 这里用 immediately 来强调空间上的巧合。除了 immediately 之外，还有 The cake went right through the windscreen. 蛋糕呢，正好是从风挡那儿飞了出去。This led to yet another angry argument. Yet indicates that it has already become a mess. 那么 yet 就强调了在这之前的情形已经够糟糕的了。除了副词之外，动词的选择也可以强调这种巧合。A great number of things choose to go wrong. 我们刚刚讲到了，好像是形容事情成心捣乱一样 choose to。 除此之外，还使用了 happen to 来表示巧合。 The woman happened to be a learner. 这个女人恰好呢又是一个初学者。So much about the language points in this text. Now coming back to the topic of the text. Remember the text says, sometimes a lot of things choose to go wrong at exactly the same time. 生活中的这种事情呢，就被称为 coincidence, 巧合。有的人比较理性客观，认为巧合纯粹是偶然的。Coincidences are purely accidental. So long as you arrange things carefully and cautiously, they can be avoided. 但是呢，还有一些人认为生活就是由巧合构成的，他们就会把巧合认为是 fate or destiny, 命运，或者说 the God's will, 一种天意。This kind of people is called fatalistic people. 这样的人呢，就会被称为宿命的人。However we choose to understand coincidences, such a day is really a day to remember. Okay, I'll see you next time.